Hey everyone, Phi Farley here. It is Week 17 action NFL coming to you. I have got 7 picks, sides, totals, 4 sides, 3 totals that I want to get to here in 1 second. Before I get into that, I want to say thank you to all the subscribers. If you've been following me, I appreciate it throughout the whole NFL season. It's been a blast. It's been profitable. It's been really good, ending on a great note. The last 16 plays, 13-3. So looking forward to a 4th consecutive winning week with these 7 plays. It's a bigger board. I think there's money to be won. So I'm going to get right to it here in 1 second. Without further ado, let's start from the top. So this weekend, you really got to cap motivation and a lot of other variables that you don't have to cap for. I've mentioned this in the last few weeks. Week 16, week 17 is very different. You got to cap the coaching, the motivation, the players, the sitting, and who's starting, injuries, contracts, things like that. All those are taken into account as we go into this capping here for the weekend. So a lot of these lines as well were better to grab early when you can. Better to even grab them now before you get into Sunday, depending on which side you're on. But they have fluctuated quite a bit based on new information that's come out. Some you'll want to sit on, some you'll want to grab here as early as possible. So, all right, with all that said, let's get into these games. First, starting off with Philadelphia playing hot down the stretch, going against Washington, who's really not only out of this, they're really, I almost feel bad for them. So many injuries on the defensive side. They're not a bad football team. They have just been riddled with injuries. They had the division lead there until Alex Smith went down, and now they're just trying to hang on and get to the end of the season. Wrong place, wrong time to face the Eagles. The Eagles need to win this game to give themselves an opportunity to get to the playoffs. Combined with a Minnesota loss would get them in, but don't think that's going to happen for them, which I'll get to in 1 second. But needless to say, we're laying 7 here. I think this is going to be an easy win for the Eagles. I'll lay 7, no problem all day. Eagles -7. All right. Next game, let's go with another side, going with the Giants -5.5. So Giants are playing the Cowboys at home. Giants have actually played some really good football. It may sound bad. It may sound odd to say that. They're 5-10. Odell Beckham has been out the last 4 games. He's going to be sitting again. But that's not to say they're not right in these football games. If you were watching the one they just lost by 1 point to the Colts who's going to be potentially going to the playoffs, they were right in that game. They had a big lead, and they had to. The Colts had to come back to win that game by 1 point. Week in, week out, this team's putting together some decent football, which is again really odd to say behind the quarterback of Eli Manning. Now, we've also seen what the Cowboys can do when they're not motivated. For example, see the Colts game in which they lost, was it 20-0? Didn't put up a single point. They have no reason to play in this game. They have nothing to play for. Elliott might be sitting. He may be sidelined. Prescott may be sidelined. Martin, other linemen who have been banged up should be getting some rest. They have no motivation on their side. So look for the Giants to win. Score early, score often, and under could be a factor as well. But in the end, I have no problem laying the 5.5 with the Giants in this one, rolling over the Cowboys and feeling a little bit good about their 6-10 season in the end. All right, next side I have is going to be the Chargers -6.5. Biggest factor here is that Lindsey is going to be out. Lindsey having surgery. Out for the rest of the year, obviously last game, but going to be out for this one. If not, I have more confidence in the Broncos at home. However, Chargers need this win to solidify their spot, and potentially they could take over the division if the Kansas City Chiefs falter against the Raiders. So I don't think the Broncos, since Emmanuel Sanders has gone down, they've looked like a completely different team. Blowing games they should have won, and here it's a tale of two sides: complete motivation, complete starters, and health everything is going on the Chargers side. I'm laying the 6.5 with the Phillip River Chargers in that one. So going to the totals. Oh, one more side I have is Jacksonville Jaguars. This is betting the number here. We're getting 6.5 at this point. Opened up at 9, been bet all the way down to 6.5. A lot of sharps really like the Jaguars. Probably the biggest sharp play of the weekend is on the Jaguars. They're just getting too many points going into the Texans. Bill O'Brien will find a way to keep this one close. They don't have a ton of offensive weapons that can run away against a Jaguars defense that has played well, even though their offense doesn't always play so well. But 6.5, too many. I'm taking Jaguars plus 6.5 on the road. All right, now let's get to some totals. Panthers and Saints. Neither team, any motivation. Saints locked up the number 1 seed. They can't lose it. They can't go down. Panthers, on the other hand, also, with Cam Newton being injured and sitting, there's really they just want to get this game over with. I think from the snap, it's going to want to be gotten over with as quickly as possible. Setting this total at 43.5, too many. Saints defense underrated, one of the best run defenses in the NFL. And Panthers aren't going to be able to pass the ball too much. And so I think we're just going to be running out of the clock at the end of the first quarter. From then on, it's going to be just running the clock out. So I'll take 43.5 under the total. All right. One other total that I like going under, Vikings-Bears. I think this one's a pretty easy going under. Interesting dynamic going into this one. I like the first half under 20 the best. Vikings-Bears, I think they're both going to be sitting watching and seeing what's going on in the other games. It may be one you want to play live or play halftime. I think Vikings will end up winning this. I was teetering on Vikings minus the 4.5. You could do either one, but I'm going Vikings-Bears under the 40.5. Vikings, number one, been number 1 defense here down the stretch. Number 1 in sacks. Number 1 third down defense. Bears, number 1 run defense. Vikings have been trying to run the ball with Dalvin Cook. I think Vikings win this one when handily. Bears don't score, but I definitely think it goes under the 40.5. So safest bet there, and that one I think under 40.5. And then the last play I like is an over. This will be a surprise over for you, but there's reasons why, and it has to do with Jameis Winston signing a big contract, ending on a bang. Falcons as well, trying to recoup some little glimmer of light and hope on this season. Defense has been banged up all year. However, they've walked away with 2 good wins down the stretch. They started to score a little bit, beating the Panthers and the Cardinals, putting up some points in both. And meanwhile, Bucks going to throw up some points. Their defense can't contain anyone, but they can definitely throw some points on the board behind Winston. I know Deshaun Jackson is out, and he's complaining about his contract. He wants out. He wants to leave the Bucks. But all that said, I think it's going to be an overplay. Both teams can score. It's a basically pick 'em. So both teams should be putting up points. I'm going to go over the 52.5 Bucks Falcons. So there you go. There's 7 plays for you. We got Eagles -7, Giants -5.5, Chargers -6.5, Jaguars +6.5, Bucks. Let's see, where was it? Panthers, Saints under the 43.5, Vikings, Bears under the 40.5, and Bucks Falcons over 52.5. All right, big weekend, last weekend of NFL. If you haven't checked out my other picks, please do so. Good luck, everyone, this weekend. We'll see you again soon.